what are some of the things you did to prepare for your success?
Well, one of the things that I did during my entire incarceration, for the most part, was my physical. I always worked out since day one. Since a couple of months of me being in prison all that time, I always worked out because I always want to maintain my health. I always wanted to have the strength, just to be healthy when I got out and to be able to sustain myself and at the same time defend myself while I was incarcerated. That's the first thing. But after a few years, right, of being lost and not getting nowhere and continue to get in trouble within the prison, right, I told myself that I had to change. And what I started doing initially was I changed the material that I was reading, because before I got incarcerated, I never picked up a book. I never read anything. But when you're incarcerated, that's one of the things that help you pass the time. So I picked up a book, and then once I discovered that I could read, that I could comprehend what I'm reading, those books helped me pass the time, and mentally it was an escape for me. When I would read those fictional books by John Grisham, Jackie Collins, there's a lot of different authors that I just read books, right? And it will give me an escape. But then those fictional books that I was escaping and I was reading, that's just what it was. It was just passing time. And what I did was I took a shift in the materials that I read, and I started reading self-help books, right? I started reading self-help books. And John Gray, the author, he wrote a book on relationships because I was having an issue with my significant other at the time. And it's a Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, right? That was the title of the book. And I read that book to get insight into how I could function better within the relationship. So once I started getting my hands on those type of books, on those type of material, then I started educating myself, and I started reading books on health and fitness, and I started reading magazines on health and fitness. Well, that took a shift. I no longer was interested in reading fictional novels anymore. That didn't interest me no more. And what I locked into was self-help material, right? And I read those books. I went through the 48 Laws of Powers, like I said, and a lot of books along those lines, right? And after doing that for a year or two, right, I started going to religious services within the prison, and that's when I ran into the Bible. So then that opened up a whole nother world for me, right? Because that got into dealing with the inside man, my spirit. And the Bible talks, everybody's familiar with the Bible, right? The Bible talks a lot of stuff. And then that's when I learned I have to change from within. I have to change my heart. And I began to see, based off my experience and the consequences of my past behaviors, how everything played out like it was written in the scriptures. So then I started applying faith to the scriptures, and that's when I started to grow spiritually. And then I knew I wasn't going back to prison at that point, because in my mind, I told myself, all I got to do is be obedient to God's word, and God's word says to be obedient and submit to those that rule over you, and to become a productive member of society. I said that's all I got to do. All I got to do is be obedient, stay humble, and God's going to exalt me and take me to where I want to go. So once I did those things right there, it opened up, it got me to this point right now.
So you was able to apply, hold on, you applied some of those same methods of what you were learning or what you taught yourself while you were incarcerated to your experiences when you got out.
Yes, yes, yes. And I started applying it while I was in prison. I didn't say, let me wait till I get out to do this. No, I started doing it when I was in prison. I said, you know what? If I'm gonna get a ticket, right? If I'm gonna get a shot for stealing food out the kitchen, let me not steal food out the kitchen, because that's a law, that's a rule here. So if I don't want to go to the hole no more, because when you go into the hole, right? Right? That's because you broke a law within the prison, and they lock you up inside the prison. So I said, if I can't stay out the hole while I'm here in prison, I'm not going to be able to stay out of prison when I'm free, because I'm going to continue in that root. That seed is still there. So I got to take that root out. I got to stop stealing, right? I got to stop fighting. If I can't stop fighting, if I can't humble myself and outthink the next man, then I'm going to go outside and get into a fight and catch an assault charge or catch a murder case. So I got to learn how to not fight while I'm in prison. So what I did immediately was, I took off my boots. You want to walk in tough in there, you want to have your boots and you ready to pop up at any time. No, I started saying, you know what? If everybody gets on the phone at this specific time, then I'm not even going to look at that phone at that time. When does nobody get on the phone? As soon as they open the gate at 7, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7:30, nobody's on the phone. Everybody's working. And let me talk to my family at that time. If I'm going to watch TV, let me watch it when nobody's in the unit. You see what I'm saying? And I started just, dodging and not getting into trouble. If I'm gonna go see my counselor and my case manager, then let me go to see them looking presentable, like I go on a visit. So I started ironing my clothes when I go to a unit team meeting, and I'm sitting down with the counselor, the case manager, talking about my case file. What I'm doing when I'm in the prison, and I started going prepared to those meetings. At the beginning of my incarceration, I didn't even want to go to those meetings. And I said, take me off. I don't want to go to those. I don't want to talk to you. I don't have nothing to talk to you. I don't want to be here. And I had that negative mental attitude. But then I told myself, look, those people that's their 9 to 5. I'm not in prison because of them. They didn't put me in prison. See, that's important. I had to understand, I had to learn that it was my actions, what I did, that caused me to be incarcerated. I chose to break the law. I chose to trust the individual that spoke against me. I gave him the opportunity to tell on me. That's what comes with the game. So all of a sudden you get locked up and it's everybody's fault. It's your wife's fault. It's the snitch's fault. It's the police that arrest the judge.
Let me stop you there, because we got so many other things to talk about,
All right. Go
and
ahead,
some
go
of them
ahead, go
things
ahead.
that you're talking about, we're gonna cover in
Okay,
this in these interviews. You know what I'm saying?
okay,
So
okay.
I'm gonna